So my name is James Rust. I am founder of the Pay Index, and we have developed a brand new product to help parents called Propella to help their child to fly. I'm joined with Amanda Reeder, who I've known for 6 years now. Thank you for joining me today. Amanda, it'd be great if you can just give us a quick intro, just so we can know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Amanda Reeder. I'm Head of Cranleigh Futures at Cranleigh School in Surrey. Cranleigh's a school of about 600 students at the moment, and I work with a variety of pupils. I support the younger pupils in helping them understand themselves and make decisions about which GCSEs to choose and which A-levels to choose, and maybe think about particular kind of career ideas for them. But I also work with sixth formers, again, helping them steer their future really, and helping them understand what their future might look like once they leave Cranleigh, whether they want to go to university, what course they might want to study, and whether they might want to go on a gap year. So we work with a whole variety of age children across the spectrum really, but we have about 120 pupils per year. So yeah, every year we will be supporting about 120 students in their university applications mainly.
We've got the university results coming up very, very shortly where we are in August 2021. So now we've got to try and hope that most of the students get the grades that they want, but inevitably, unfortunately, some students will fall short, and then we have all sorts of angst. So the whole part of this particular video that we're producing is to help parents to help their student, their children work out what to do next.
Absolutely, yeah, and it can be a really difficult time. There's been so much uncertainty in the last sort of 2 years, and there's even more uncertainty for our 18-year-olds really about what their future looks like. So yeah, there'll be some nervous parents and some nervous pupils out there at the moment, but not long to wait.
And if you think about the number of students that you have, typically what percentage of students don't get their first choice or have to go through clearing? What's the normal sort of number? Yeah,
it's really interesting. Probably about 30% of our students will drop a grade from their kind of expected grades that they needed to get off to university. But of that, a large proportion, probably about 15%, would still actually get into their first choice university. So even though they would drop a grade, their first choice will often still take them. That's certainly what's happened in 2019. 2020 was a very different year because of COVID, and who knows what it's going to look like. So,
bearing in mind last year was the first year that was affected by COVID, and we know what a challenge that was for so many students, and the way that the impetus was put on the schools to help deal with this, and it was a very unusual year. What do you think schools have learnt for dealing with this particular year?
Well, I guess one thing that we've learned as a team of people is that that you've got to sort of plan as much as you can for every eventuality, because you just don't know what that situation is going to be. Certainly last year, the majority of the universities took the students, and that's partly because the grades changed pretty rapidly within a week, and the university still had to honour those kind of offers that they'd made. So we had very few people actually going into clearing. Some people did much better than they were anticipating, and they sort of went into, they pulled themselves out of the university process because they wanted to then apply to a better university, to a better course, because actually they'd got better grades than they'd expected. That doesn't often happen, but it definitely happened last year.
I mean, I've heard. How does the school's career team help when the clearing process begins? What are the actual mechanics of the process?
Well, I think the key take home for me is that actually the pupil has got to go through clearing themselves, and they've got to contact the universities themselves. So as a careers team, we're always there to help them, but ultimately we can't communicate with UCAS and we can't communicate with the individual universities for them, those students have actually got to go through that process themselves, and parents can't do it either. That's just one of the key messages, really, I think, from this video. And whilst as parents we're desperate to help them, we're desperate to make those calls, but actually it's got to be the student. Interestingly, clearing is open now, and it always opens a little bit before the actual results come out. So they do that so that pupils who are worried that they're not going to get those grades, they can actually be thinking about it now and do a bit of research now. And they should be looking at those individual university pages, and you can sign up onto each university page to actually get the information that you need about the courses that are currently available. So if universities have got spaces on management courses, you can actually get that information right now. So yeah, if you're worried about it, it's definitely worth thinking ahead and planning and thinking, oh, actually, I don't think I'm going to get the grades, but I'm going to look at doing a similar course. So I'll look at Reading University, I'll look at Oxford Brookes and see if already I can find out if there are spaces on similar courses. So it's definitely worth doing your research sort of early on. And as of Tuesday, when the results actually come out, then clearing opens on the UCAS page. And if you go to the UCAS page, there's some really good videos that explain how that works. But you've got to log on to it, and it will list all of those universities and the courses that are currently available. But then as an individual, the students have got to contact each individual university themselves and say, this is what I'm interested in. These are my current grades. I was really hoping for 3 A's, but actually I've got an A and 2 B's. My firm choice won't take me. My insurance choice won't take me. Would you take me for this particular course? And you just have to have those conversations with each individual university to find out whether they will actually take you.
And when you speak to the university, are you speaking to the university? You're trying to speak to the careers teams there, or the clearing teams at the university? Yeah. So you're having so the students got to call them up physically, try and get through, which, as we know, is a case of redial. They eventually get through and say, right, these are my grades, or this is my student number, my UCAS number.
Yeah.
Can I go to this course?
Yeah, absolutely.
So tip number 1 then is, if you're worried, do some research beforehand by going to the university pages.
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, UCAS will not list the courses that are currently available. They won't do that until Tuesday when the results come out. But each university, you can register on their page, and if you do that you will get emails that will tell you the actual courses where they have some spaces already available. But you do have to do that to each individual university to start with. But as of Tuesday, that list will also be available on the UCAS site. Yeah, you need to talk to the admissions department of each individual kind of department, and that information will all be there on UCAS for you. So on results day, when you get your actual results, and every school will process that in a different way. It may be that you get that via an email. It may be that you have to log on to your sort of school portal to get those results. And if you've dropped a grade, then it's definitely worth taking a deep breath, not panicking, but then checking UCAS and checking your emails, because it could well be that already you've got an email that says, welcome to York University, welcome to this university, and actually they're still taking you even though you've dropped a grade. So just don't panic straight away. Definitely get your results, but check your UCAS page and check your emails, because it could well be that you've immediately got in and you don't need to go through the clearing at all.
And that's really interesting, because that happened to my son. So he was going for Exeter, he was going for the course, but they offered him the same course but in a different campus, which unfortunately was not the one that he needed for the other activities that he wanted to focus on, which is why he then had to change. So, but yes, we weren't expecting that result to come through. So that does make sense. And as you say, clearing day, results day, it's stressful. But it gives you that, it's good that you've got that, I think, in your back pocket, so to speak.
But it's worth also not rushing decisions. Going to university is an expensive 3 years, 4 years maybe of your life. You will pay your university tuition fees of over £9,000 a year. So don't rush that decision. And there can be that kind of moment of panic on results day, but actually take your time, do your research, get the information from the universities that says, yes, we will give you a place, but don't feel that you have to actually confirm that straight away. You could have 4 different universities that are offering you a place, but don't be pushed into actually making that decision immediately. Take your time, think about it, do some research. So it doesn't have to be, you have to sign on the dotted line straight away.
And the type of research that you would suggest doing, I mean, obviously there's the university itself. It would be worthwhile also checking the modules. And, it may be that it's a course that you're familiar with, but the modules they do vary substantially from university to university, whether it's a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science, and, how scientific-y are they? I mean, that can vary quite dramatically, can't it?
Yeah. And some university courses are very exam-based, some are more coursework-based. So that's worth considering. And as you've already said, that actually when it comes to you being offered a place at university, it could be that it's slightly different from the original course that you were hoping to get onto. So you might need to be a little bit flexible in your decision making. It could be that, let's say you were doing a geography course, but actually you didn't get into your firm choice. Maybe that other courses might have more of a human element to it. So you would need to be a little bit flexible in actually what you're going to be accepted onto, really.
Thank you, Amanda. That's really, really useful information. What happens if on you think actually that they don't want to do that, or they go through clearing and there's nothing really that excites them? Or they are stuck on their original dream, or what are the other alternatives, do you think?
Well, if you want to withdraw from the university process, you can kind of self-withdraw. So you don't have to go to university if you've changed your mind, and people do. Kind of withdraw yourself from the process. You might want to think about getting a job. Obviously, COVID's changed a lot of these sort of employment areas at the moment, but it's definitely worth taking your time. We're all living longer, we're working longer, you don't have to go to university straight away. So it's a really good idea to actually take more time, have a year out, maybe do some traveling if the world sort of opens up a bit more. There's lots of different possibilities with volunteering, traveling, working, maybe getting a bit of work experience, or sort of doing some volunteerism, and just developing yourself and just taking time to really think about what you really want out of life.
Do you have an idea as to what percentage of students will retake their exams? Is that obviously it's a minority, but do you know roughly what percentage do go on to study for the next year to try and improve their A-level grades?
Yeah, so very few of our students would do that. I don't know, probably something about like 3%.
Yeah.
Very, very few would do that. As I said, some people will end up doing better than they'd anticipated, and so which is fantastic. So suddenly, if you've got 3 A stars, you might go, actually, I will try and apply for Oxford or Cambridge. It's worth a go. So we've definitely had students that have done that, and that's really paid off for them. They've worked really hard, and they've got some great exam results, but they might not have initially been accepted onto a particular university, so they've reapplied, and then most of the time they've then got in second time round. So yeah, that's been worth their extra effort.
Fantastic. So I guess that, there are other options open. As you said, the students may have been inspired by what they have seen and heard through COVID after they've made their university choices. They might now use this as an opportunity to rethink, or as you say, the cost is so expensive that maybe they might consider doing a degree apprenticeship instead, so they don't have that student debt when they come to finish. So there's different options out there, and if you don't get in through clearing or your first office or through your first offer, then it's not the end of the world. Yes, it's stressful, but there are other alternatives.
Absolutely, definitely, and there are people that will change their mind over the subject that they've decided to study at university. And certainly, when you put your UCAS application form in November time, normally by the time you actually get your results in August, that's a long time, and a lot of people will change their mind in that time. So yeah, they would need to then probably withdraw from the process and then look at going on to a completely different university course if that's what they've decided to do. Let's hope that actually maybe through COVID some people will have decided to change from a chemistry degree to actually then training to be a doctor. That would be an amazing, amazing.
I know, and then the NHS is going to be happy as well, so everybody wins in that regard.
It's really important that pupils contact the universities themselves. Whilst as parents, we love to help them, and it's really difficult to watch them sort of worry about things, and we're often desperate to support them. But actually, pupils have got to get in touch with the universities themselves. So it's worth doing that with the admissions teams, seeing what courses they've got available, obviously having your results with you and seeing if you'd actually be accepted onto those courses. But you really need to have your personal statement with you. So you might need to refer to your personal statement when you're chatting to those admissions teams. And you might need to be flexible with those courses. So you might need to change very slightly, maybe do a course that is more combined, maybe one that's got work experience involved within it. So yeah, you just need to be really organised, but you also need to be a bit flexible.
Just jumping in, why would you need to refer to a personal statement during clearing?
Well, when you're talking to the actual admissions department, they may well say to you, well, why do you want to do this course? And students would have written those personal statements back in October, and they could well have forgotten actually why they originally wanted to do the course. So there's an element of you've got to kind of sell yourself in order to get onto the actual course. So if you have your personal statement with you, then that will remind you about why you wanted to actually apply for that course in the first place. Okay. And if you've got it with you, you're much less likely to actually sort of to worry about it and panic when they ask you questions that you might not have thought about. Yeah, absolutely. And it's really important to be positive. We fully appreciate that students are going to be worried about things, they're going to be panicking about things, but actually you need to remain calm and you need to be positive about it as well. The universities aren't really going to want to have people that are in floods of tears on the telephone. So yeah, try to remain calm, be positive, but be really organised. And obviously, the results always come out in the summer holidays. So make sure you keep your phone on because they will get back in touch with you either via email or they might give you a ring to actually then give you an offer and say, yeah, you can come on to our course. So yeah, keep your phone on and be organised, really.
Keep your phone on, keep it charged.
Yes. Don't put it on silent.
Don't put it on silent. No, absolutely. I think that's really, really useful feedback, I have to say. Okay. Well, I think that's a lovely way to finish. So thank you very much, Amanda. It's been great to speak to you, and thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
I hope you enjoyed our video today. I really enjoyed talking with Amanda about Results Day and how the clearing process works. If you would like more information about universities, apprenticeships, and student finance, please sign up to Propella using the link below. It's completely free and is here to help you help your children. Many thanks. Sign up to Propella today and help your child to fly.